Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell from the title of this video, it's my birth story of this little guy. He's eating right now. We've tried to make this video twice already, and Philly's eating, so enjoy that. But yeah, so this is gonna be the birth vlog. The birth video.
The backstory.
The backstory, yeah.
With this birth vlog, I tried my best to make it in chronological order because it happened over so many days.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the camera charger for the battery, so we only had one battery to work off of. Somebody's calling me from Winter Park, and I don't know who it is. We're just gonna ignore it for now. So yeah, it was just all over the place. So this way here, we can kind of just fill in the blanks and yeah,
Explain. Yeah. So. Again, we have the birth vlog on our vlogging channel. So if you guys have seen that, you kind of have a glimpse as to what kind of happened. But so pretty much what happened in the beginning, I had my 34-week appointment, just turned 34 weeks. This was March 31st. I had my appointment in the morning, and Jay came with me. Even though he couldn't come in, he waited in the hallway.
Yes.
Because I didn't know exactly what was happening at this appointment. They were going to do like checks or whatever. So went in, did the blood pressure, and then she was like, And then she's like, okay, I'll just do that again. And that's never happened before. So then, and she didn't tell me what it was, because I think she wanted me to like relax and like not freak out. So then she did it again, and then I was like, what is it? And then she told me it was like 146 over something. And then she left, and then she told my midwife, and then she came back and she was like, you're going to need to go to the hospital for monitoring. And I was just like, oh?
Yeah. And she was texting me the whole time. I'm in the hallway like, what's going on? Like, is everything okay? Because her blood pressure is usually really low, so it being that high is even like doubly scary because your normal is so low.
So the hospital that I gave birth in is right next door to my doctor's appointment. So we literally we moved the car because my blood pressure was up. So we moved the car from their parking lot to the other parking lot, and then I went into labor and delivery, and then I was like, my doctor's office sent me over for monitoring. My blood pressure's high, so they hooked me right up. Did my blood pressure a few times, and then the doctor came in and he sat and he was like, he just kept pushing it over and over and just writing it down. And then I think at one point got to like 180 over something.
Yes.
And then he left, and then they were like, all right, we're admitting you.
Yeah.
So I was in triage for like maybe like a half an hour.
Yeah.
And then they admitted me, and then he left. Well, we called my mom, told her to come, because obviously Philly, we didn't know how long we were going to be there. And then he left to go get our bags.
Which was a hot mess because we had planned on packing our bag that weekend. His bag was already packed, but our bag wasn't. So I literally had to rush home. I'm trying to throw things in a suitcase for us, trying to make a bag for Philly so she could go with Naisha's mom. And that's how I ended up forgetting the camera charger because I was just a hot mess.
Yeah. So while he was gone, they actually came in and started my induction. They put some sort of a pill. I don't remember what it was called, honestly.
I remember. I'll put it in for you.
Yeah. So they put in. Hold on. I'm trying to get myself situated. Baby grunts. But they put in a pill, and then that one stays in for 4 hours, and then they check you. So they put it in, and it hurts so bad because I'm just really small.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they put it in, and then I guess I was having contractions.
Yeah, she was actually having contractions from the time that we got to triage.
Yeah, they had
3 to 5 minutes apart, but she wasn't feeling them at all.
Yeah. I know, you ate your food. Good job. Yeah, so I was having contractions that whole time, and then once they like hooked me up to fluids and stuff, they kind of slowed down, but again, I never really felt any of them. Come lay down. Come here. No. Yeah, I never really felt them. They also hooked me up to magnesium, which that just was horrible. So I was on magnesium.
That's when you called me.
Yeah.
And I was home.
Since the 31st, and then we'll continue. So they put that pill in. 4 hours later, they checked me, and then by that time, obviously, he was back. So then they did another one. 4 hours later, they checked me. I wasn't even 1 centimeter dilated.
I think they literally said you had a dimple in your cervix. That was it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
then hell started.
Yeah, you have to explain because I
So yeah, at this point she was really out of it from the magnesium. She had called me before I even got back to the hospital, and she had the magnesium, and I was here with her mom, and like she was just out of it.
Yeah, because they put me on the regular dose, but I'm very sensitive to medication.
Very.
Like any medication, even Tylenol, like it just works really good.
Yeah, so
they had to drop the dose, but they didn't figure that out until a few days later.
Yeah. So I came back to the hospital, and they had done the second one when I was there, the second pill. And at this point, like I said, she was still out of it from the magnesium. She wasn't able to eat because they weren't sure what was going on.
Like how quick?
We were still kind of under the impression that, we were going to be only there for like maybe a day or two. So that was Wednesday. So Wednesday night,
it was a Cervidil.
That's when they inserted the Cervidil. And
they gave me IV medication because at this point they had done so many checks and I was in so much pain already. Not from contractions, not from
just from them checking.
Just from that.
So they gave her Stadol. And when they gave that to her, that was probably like the funniest part of this whole experience was watching her on Stadol. Literally the nurse, as she's getting ready to administer it, she's
pretty much like fentanyl.
Yeah, she's like getting ready to administer it. She's like, you might feel like really loopy. It usually takes a little bit to kind of settle in, and once it does, like you're gonna feel very loopy. I kid you not, as soon as she pushed it, Nisha was sitting up, and then she's just like, literally, and me and the nurse looked back, and we're just like, damn, it hurt that fast. She was literally like out, and then she was just acting almost as if she was drunk, which was really funny to see because she doesn't drink at all. So that was very interesting.
So they gave me that. I felt everything because I was screaming. So it kind of just puts you in a fog, but it's not a pain. Like, you could still feel the pain. Yeah,
so it was like, it went from funny to very scary in like 2 seconds because they were doing that so they could give her Cervidil, which the way they explained it to us was like a stick of gum on a tampon string. And I just said it felt like a knife.
So they put that, again, all the way to your cervix. My cervix was still up very high. Hadn't changed from those 2 other pills.
Yeah. That stays up there for 12 hours. So for 12 hours, and then it will be removed. So during that time, she was actually put on bed rest because of the magnesium and her being in so much pain and the blood pressure. So they had her using a bedpan, which was very interesting.
Yeah. So obviously they were giving me a lot of fluids, so I had to go to the bathroom a lot. I was having contractions, so that wasn't helping. So like literally like every hour, I was like calling someone in to. It was just so like embarrassing. Degrading.
Yes, that word. I couldn't think.
So
literally, I had to help her twice because I was just like, "You want me to just help you?"
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure, like, because the nurses were very, very awesome. We love the nurses except for one, but I wasn't sure like what I was allowed to do and what I wasn't allowed to do, so that's why for the longest we just let them do it. And then it got to the point where they were getting so close together, and some of the nurses were kind of weird when it came to the bedpan. Like they literally would hover. They were like,
they're really lucky I didn't have to poop.
Yeah.
I just had to pee.
That would have been bad.
So anyway, so going into Thursday. 12 hours later, they go to take it out.
Yeah.
It was so painful. It had moved. So it had moved from my cervix to like damn near coming out. So in that time that it moved, it pretty much irritated and scratched and just...
Basically, not to be too graphic, but just so you can get an idea, the midwife basically said it seemed like sandpaper had been rubbed all in there, and it just like made her raw. So it's that bad.
When they pulled it out, I was screaming. And then what happened after that? Oh yeah. So after that, they were like, they're gonna put in the Foley bulb.
Well, you were 1 centimeter after all of that. So the 2 pills, the Cervidil, she was only 1 centimeter. So yeah, the next thing was the Foley bulb.
Yeah. So
if you don't know, that's a little balloon thing.
Yeah, it's really, really long, and then at the end it has 2 balloons. So that usually they can put that in without a speculum. So because I was so raw, they couldn't even they couldn't see my cervix or even attempt to get it in there because, like I said, it was really far back. So even trying to get that in there, I was in so much pain. So they had to get a speculum, which they don't even have in labor and delivery. They had to go to the ER to get it.
And then the specific size, too. That was the other thing.
Yeah, they had got 2 different sizes. Or they got one size, and they had to go and get another one because it was too big. So they go and get that, and they try. And it just, it's way too painful. Even just getting the speculum and everything's painful. So at this point, they were like, we can't do anything because you're in so much pain. And it was just stressing me out. It was stressing him out. So they said, we don't want to force anything on you, but we think the best option was for you to get an epidural. So I ended up getting an epidural.
Twice.
Yes, getting there. So the first epidural, he gets only to putting in. So he gets it in.
He flushed it, yeah.
He didn't end up flushing it.
No, yeah, that's right.
I think they do a test flush, and I think he was almost done with it, and I pretty much passed out. My heart rate and my blood pressure bottomed out, which they were so high this whole time that they just bottomed out, and I just passed out.
This was like really scary.
Yeah.
She had literally just been sitting up. She was fine, and I've seen her pass out many times because of her blood pressure being so low. But she literally just went from being awake, very lively, to just out.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, she's hooked up to all the monitors for him, and they couldn't find his heart rate either. So they pushed me out of the way. I was standing at her bedside. They pushed me out of the way. The nurses were getting her readjusted, trying to get her back up. And the midwife was standing next to me, and she's just like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm okay. I really wasn't too okay, but I've experienced this with her before, but obviously nothing like this. And then they got you back up very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just
because it was just our nurse and the anesthesiologist.
Yes.
Everyone else came running in afterward because she pressed the button or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they kept flipping me, trying to get him on the monitor, which they kept having to readjust this whole time because I was literally hooked up to the heart rate and the contractions monitor the whole time, and it was so itchy. So yeah, they ended up getting him back, and then she's like, "You want to try again?" So we tried it again, and it went well, and I got my epidural. Yay!
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! So they let that work, and then they tried the Foley bulb again. So they had to use speculum, and then everything went in. I didn't feel not a damn thing.
Yes.
Not a damn thing.
And then we were good. We were good for a long time after that.
How long was that in for?
That was in for another 12 hours.
Okay, so this was bringing us to Thursday.
No, this was Thursday. This was bringing us into Friday. So during those hours, it was all good. And then at the 12-hour mark, they removed it. They checked. She was at 5 centimeters. So then that's when they were trying to get you the other 5 centimeters. So they were literally
Pitocin and stuff. And
the Pitocin, repositioning the little, what was the ball? The peanut ball?
The peanut ball,
yeah. The peanut ball. They had her in all these really funky positions. They literally dropped the whole bottom of the bed at one point and had her literally this, hanging. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But they were doing everything that they could to get him down.
Yeah, because when they had checked after they took out the Foley bulb, she was feeling his head, but he wasn't pushing down on the cervix enough to open it up. She said he was like a basketball.
Yeah.
He was just like bouncing in there, but
So
he
that-
wasn't coming down.
Yeah, that pretty much was all Friday, was just trying to get her the other 5 centimeters.
Yeah.
And she never made it. She stayed at the 5 centimeters. So that brings us to Saturday morning. So remember, we got there at Wednesday early afternoon. Now it's Saturday morning. Philly, get down. And at this point, Nisha's just exhausted because she hasn't been able to sleep because they have to keep coming in and checking her, repositioning her. The monitors beeping and making noises. She was having contractions. You really didn't feel your contractions that entire time.
I didn't feel my contractions at all. Obviously, once I got the epidural, I wasn't feeling much of anything, but I wasn't feeling that. You know, the best thing that I did get, and I got it before I got the epidural with my catheter.
Yes.
Life.
Yeah, we did. You did end up doing that.
Yeah.
That was
that wasn't even painful getting that.
Yeah,
they thought it would be, but it wasn't.
Yeah, the first nurse tried to tell her like, you probably don't want that, but
yeah.
It worked out. So yeah, Saturday morning, it was like around 1:30 in the morning, and they had come in and checked her again, and still just no progress. And they're just like, we really need to start talking about a cesarean at this point.
No. Yes, but no. So this whole time they were doing blood work, keeping up with my magnesium.
Oh yeah, you're
right. So they did blood work every 12 hours, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why they came in, and because I think they would have continued a little while longer with the induction, because he was doing fine. I was doing fine with my blood pressure and stuff, kind of. But he was fine.
Yeah.
The reason why they were saying a C-section was because they had done blood work and my liver was starting to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I don't know exactly why. Oh, it was because of the preeclampsia.
Yeah.
It was starting to get to that place where it could have been eclampsia, which obviously was why I had the magnesium, because they didn't want me to get to having seizures, which is eclampsia. So my liver was starting to shut down, so they were like, we really need to, get him out, because then it just would have been a hot mess if it would have continued.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was around like 6.
Yeah.
When they came in and got the blood work back and told us that, and then at 7 they brought me into the OR. Oh, and my epidural came out, so I had to get a spinal block in the
OR.
In the OR. So I had 3 epidural kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, when they wheeled her back around 7, I think it was around 7.
Because he was born at 7:53.
4. At 7, they were like, "Oh, it'll only take about 5 minutes for us to get her set up." So they had me like sitting in a little waiting room right outside the OR, and I'm seeing all the doctors and nurses going in and out. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, it's like 10 minutes. It's like 20 minutes now. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm like thinking in my head the worst. Like, did she bottom out in the OR? Like, what's going on? And they finally came and got me.
Yeah.
And everything was okay. And
yeah, because with the spinal block, you literally just get a needle in. It's not like a catheter like the epidural, and then they just put it in, and literally you just feel numb.
Yeah. And,
so yeah, we went in, had my C-section, and then they started like closing me up after, and I started feeling it, so they gave me fentanyl.
Yeah, and then she was extra loopy again, asking for juice, and
yeah, he had went to the NICU with him.
Yeah, that was hard too, because I literally felt like my heart was being torn in that OR. He was in the incubator with the nurses. They were like, wiping him down and everything. And then that's when I looked over and I could see that she was in pain, and that's when they started pushing the fentanyl. And I was just like, where do I go? And then even after they finally got him all set, and then I came back to Nisha's side, and they were getting ready to take him to the NICU. They're like, okay, Dad, are you going to stay with Mom, or are you going with Baby? And I'm like, where am I going?
Go with him, because I didn't want him to be alone.
Yeah.
So then
you went to recovery. I stayed with him for about 30 minutes. Then I was asking constantly, like, hey, is my wife ready yet? Is she in recovery? Is she in recovery? They finally told me she was ready in recovery, so then I went over and I spent some time with her, and you were out of it. Like, we talked, like, maybe for, like, 5 to 10 minutes. She was out of it, but in pain. So then I left. They switched up rooms. I brought our stuff over to our new room, and then I went back and spent time with him.
So we stayed in labor and delivery for another night because I was still in magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm getting emotional.
And you didn't get to see him until, so he was born 7:54 a.m. Naisha didn't get to go see him until 8:30 p.m.
So more than 12 hours later.
Yeah.
Because my blood pressure was still very high.
Yeah, that was rough seeing that too, because I had been over to see him a few times and she wasn't able to leave yet, and she literally was like telling the nurses, like, look, I need to go see my baby. Like, you need to figure something out so I can go see my baby. And they ended up wheeling her over in the wheelchair.
Yeah, they were waiting for my blood pressure to go down.
Yeah.
Because it was like really high still. And that made me unstable. I was like, I'm fine.
She's so stubborn.
But yeah, so I guess I meant to say in the beginning, they kept asking me, you know, my symptoms. The only symptom I had was the spotty vision. That's it. I didn't have any other preeclampsia signs. I didn't have headaches. I don't know what other symptoms.
You had the itching. Was that
was
part of it?
something.
Oh, yeah, that was for something else.
Oh, I had swelling, but I always see women swell all the time. And usually they say if one side is more swollen than the other, which both my sides were pretty swollen.
Yeah.
So.
But it wasn't that bad
Yeah,
either.
it wasn't
but
that bad.
in the hospital, it got
really bad.
very bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the only. I had the spotty vision, not blurred vision. I had the spotty vision, and that was like here and there. But yeah, so that was that. But I'm sure you guys would like to see little man. Oh, and his name is Jax Elliott Johnson.
Yes.
And he's almost
2 months old.
You know.
So he was born 4 pounds, 14 ounces. We got a scale at the house now. And so when he left the hospital, he was 6 pounds, 8 ounces. And he is now 7 pounds.
He's 7 pounds, 4
4
ounces.
ounces,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, we haven't got a scale to keep up with his weight gain. He has an appointment coming up soon. He's so little, but he's so big.
I know.
Literally 4 pounds. He looks like a grown man now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was in the NICU for a month.
That'll be a whole nother story about that, because that was an experience, to say the least. We love all the nurses that we had, the doctors, the midwives. They all did a great job in caring for both of them and making sure that we were educated and knew what was going on and why they were doing the things that they were doing, and asking for our input along the way.
Yeah. So in total, I was in the hospital for 5 days, and this little guy was in the hospital for a month and 5 days because he was inside.
Yeah, a month and 5 days.
So, yeah, but we're home now. We're doing good, and I will start making more videos on him and his updates and all that. Like I said, I just want to get home, get settled.
Yes.
We have some other craziness happening in the next month and a half.
Yes.
So I'll keep you guys updated on that. It's 100%, but not 100% quite yet, right?
It's 100%. Yes, that just makes it 100% on paper, but
yeah. So we're waiting for a piece of paper. But yeah. So
if you aren't subscribed to our vlog channel, make sure you go check out our vlog channel, because that's where you actually get to see us in action. Day to day. Yeah, day to day. Not necessarily daily vlogging. We're not quite there yet, but maybe.
We should do a 24-hour with newborn.
Yeah. If you have any video suggestions too, just put them down below what you want to see, and any questions that you have.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a Q&A.
Yeah, this was a lot.
Yeah. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.